Dear Mr. Peyton McQuire, you don't know me. Your name has been chosen at random from a phone book. I was abducted from this earth on October 17th of the current calendar year. I will say for the sake of simplicity that it happened as I was staring at the night sky one night following an argument with my wife. The details aren't important. She said that I was never present, that I'd been spending a disconcerting amount of time staring up at the sky looking for UFOs or watching old episodes of The X-Files. She said I wasn't there for her, that it was like she was living with a robot. I said that was bullshit. I said that if I've been quiet lately, then that's just how I'm reacting to the miscarriage. I said that if I've been like a robot, then she's been like an alien. I said, I don't even know who you are anymore. She said, how dare you? I said I'd be back later. That's not important, though. None of that's important. What's important is that I am here now, held joyously on the bridge of a flying saucer. I don't know where we are right now. I cannot see the sun. I heard two of them talking the other day about the Exergon system, so maybe that's where we are. Who knows, though? They might have just been talking about some science fiction story. One of my abductors asked if I would like to send word back to anyone. They said that they didn't have the internet or email and that the best way to reach someone would be by snail mail. I said I didn't have anyone I wanted to reach particularly, but they had a phone book from Hoboken, and your name seemed as good as any to receive my final statements. If by some miraculous cosmic coincidence you happen to know my wife, Jane Carpenter, please do not contact her. It would upset her too much to know that I'm alive up here and that I will not be returning home. My abductors offered to let me go home, but I refused them. They said, go home, you have a wife, we're done with you. I said, there's nothing for me there, I love her, but I can't go back, I just can't be with her, I can't go home. They laughed and said, fucking skin monkey, and shook their heads about what a skin monkey kind of thing that was to say. They tried to convince me otherwise, tried to use logic, but I remained steadfast and submitted myself willingly to further testing. Living conditions here are poor. I am locked in a cage and probed at the one of my captors. They laugh when the probings make me shout out in pain, and they call me a skin monkey when I cry. Everything is sore, my anus is always bleeding. I have no physical intimacy of any kind. I am so alone up here, but it is all worth it for the 1 hour a day during which I am granted meditation time upon the observation deck. Inside the observation deck, there is a window the size of a movie screen that looks out onto the vast recesses of space. My abductors say that it is cleansing for the mind to be reminded of how big everything is, how anything is possible. They are right. It is beautiful. The sight of the naked universe reminds me of a trip I took with my mother and father when I was very young. We took a plane to Florida. I had never seen an ocean before, never been to a coast. The first time I saw the Atlantic, my jaw dropped. And that's what it feels like every time I stare out that window, every time I look out at all the possibility of space. As a child, the possibility of extraterrestrial life obsessed me. I read all the books, lost myself in VHS tapes of old X-Files episodes that I always thought I would introduce to my son if he ever got old enough. And I would sit out at night, shining a flashlight up at the night sky with all the other neighborhood kids. And my heart would skip a beat whenever a plane flew by, but it was always just that, always a plane or a shooting star. I started stargazing again after the miscarriage. I had to. I couldn't stay in the house with her. She'd just be crying and crying all night, every night. She had decided before her pregnancy ended that she would name the baby Ethan, and she would just wail his name over and over again. Ethan! She would cry, Ethan, my baby. She'd always be on the phone too, every day, personally informing every person in her life that they shouldn't be happy for her. What's it like? The person on the other end of the line would ask, and she'd always say something like, painful and bloody. I couldn't take it. I couldn't stand being in a room with her, and so I started leaving at night, started dragging a lawn chair to the trail at the end of the street so I could sit up and stare at the sky for a few hours. There was nothing left in that house. There was no potential. I couldn't take it. Every night I left for a few hours, and then one night I didn't come back. And so if you know my wife somehow, or if you run into her, or if you see her on Nancy Grace talking about how she knows her husband was kidnapped, and there's no way he'd just leave me like this after the miscarriage, and please, if you have any information on his whereabouts, please call this number or call the police. Well, then please don't make any attempt to contact her, because it would just make things worse. I assume that she is very sad right now, but that's all right. She'll be happy again, just like I'm happy. I leave you with the following words, friend, written as I stare out the window at the limitless potential of a vast and wonderful universe. Vindication is beautiful. It's not too late for anything. Yours, Robert Carpenter. Thank you so much.